going to put these side by side. There we go. Okay, so that's net income, and this is operating cash flows. Okay, so cash coming in is not the same thing as cash flow, all right? Well, cash coming in is cash flow, it's not the same thing as net income. So you see the difference here. Cash collected from customers for services is not the same thing as service revenue. And this is an important distinction, okay? There we go. For instance, service revenue, $82,000. But 71,000 is collected during the year, 11,000 is going to be collected next year, which means that the cash portion is only $71,000. Great disciplined mouse. Again. All right, I'll just keep it on one sheet because it's not working the way I want it to. So I have trouble with this particular system. Cash collected. So the $11,000, where would you expect that to be reported on your financial statements?
Cash receivable.
Actually, accounts receivable.
Accounts
Yeah.
receivable.
Accounts receivable. It would be carried over to the next year as an account receivable because you would have recorded the entire $82,000 as accounts receivable as you did the service, and you're showing you collected most of the money. The $11,000 might very well be things you did in the last week of December. So that's perfectly okay. If you're running 30-day accounts like that, that's fine. That would be your account, that would be your balance sheet amount. All right, salaries expense, $42,000. Once again, $6,000 expected to be paid next year as salaries payable. That could be the final week of work that gets paid on the next payday, which happens to be in the next year. So I've got 42 and 36. That's the amount. Oh no, paid 36. Okay. Salaries expense 42,000. Salaries actually paid 36,000. Now, why does this matter? This matters because you can actually have a circumstance where a company has negative net income. They show a net loss, but positive cash flow, and that's actually perfectly okay. Now, the statement of cash flows reconciles those two numbers. We reconcile net income to cash operating flows, cash flows. And I'll show you that. That's actually chapter 11. We have a whole chapter on that. Advertising expense, most of the time, this is going to be exactly the same. Simply because of the way advertising is structured, advertising paid and advertising expense will almost always be the same, just because there's special rules about advertising, okay? Supplies expense, this is kind of a tricky one. Supplies expense, $5,000, no supplies purchased. How does that work? Supplies expense is $5,000. Supplies purchased is $0. Oh, hello, Clint. I have no interest in Clint Eastwood movies right now. The mouse cursor has a mind of its own. Supplies paid is $0. because we had plenty of supplies. I didn't have to buy any. Which is not uncommon. Companies very often will stock up if there's a, sometimes there's a going out of business sale and you can get a lot of supplies at a really low price. If you got the cash flow to do that, go ahead and do that. Get the discounted price. And you might very well have enough supplies to last you for a year. What about utilities paid? Expense $14,000, $12,000 paid, $2,000 expected to be paid next year because the bill came late in the year. It's not due until the first of the next month, and you're allowed to do that. Expense $14,000. Cash paid is on $12,000. Okay. And finally, cash collected in advance for customers is $3,000, so that's plus, but no revenue shown. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to have operating cash flows of $15,000, net income of $10,000. This is actually good, by the way. If your cash flows are higher than your income, that's a good thing. If the reverse is not so good. Make sure that's actually what I got. 15 and 10, there you go. Yeah, so this is not a bad thing at all. If you have lower net income, especially because we live in a tax-based world, if your taxable net income is lower than your cash flows, you're actually in pretty good shape. Okay, that's it for today, for this chapter. When we come back, I think the next one is another reconciliation. Oh no, this is the, I'm pretty sure I posted a schedule for you for this. This is, okay, yeah, this is the statement of cash flow. This is the direct method. We'll start that next time.